And we are live. And we are back with episode 22 of season 2 of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Parents. Parents. Now, look, before we really get into it, I knew this episode was coming. All right. I knew this death was coming. I knew it was coming the whole time. And every time Santo said, I just have a bad feeling. You read it and then you see it. And seeing it hits so much worse than it did in the manga. In the light novel. And the light novel sucked. But how is everybody feeling after this episode?
Sad. Ain't
On,
another way to feel
on Father's Day.
on Father's Day.
They nasty for that, bro.
That 1 week where they took a week off from showing it. Yeah, we know why now.
On Father's Day.
What an episode.
I'm gonna be real. I don't know if the death hurt worse or what came afterwards at the very end of the episode.
If I thought the episode was incredible, if we're going from start to finish, the only thing I would say, I wish we didn't get, I wish they just stayed silent. I didn't want the music. I didn't want any of that. Just stay silent until Zenith tries to talk. Now, I'm sure you guys will have a lot of questions, but let's do it the way we used to do it. I don't even think this is up for discussion, but the MVP is Paul. Your boy Paul, this is the best animated episode of Mushoku Tensei probably since, oh my god, I don't want to say ever. But this is a very young studio tackling something, and I knew they were going to throw CGI on the Hydra, but I thought it was very well done, especially coming off the back of the last episode where you saw. Rarely, I understand people, we see all these things say adventurer, but we rarely get to see what makes them an adventurer. Like Goblin Slayer does a really good job of doing this, right? Because that's what they are. But to see all the prep that they've done, all that, and then they finally go and they see Zenith, and Paul's been clutching up, leading this party the whole time, but then he sees his wife and he's gone. He's immediately in the smoke. Luckily enough, they're able to pull him back out. By the way, shout out to Geese, because your boy can't fight at all, but your boy's always prepared to take care of almost everything else. The fight itself, then they pull back. Paul and Rudy kind of get at it, and it just kind of shows a little bit of how much Rudy still needs to mature from his past life, right? But let's dive right on and let's start right at the beginning. Santo, Mazer, take me through what you guys saw. Take me exactly through it.
Go ahead, Mazer. Go ahead.
All right. And I know I've been missing for a couple of weeks, so I want to give a quick shout out to the series, because how they were talking about how they need to get Roxy right back into the labyrinth, because there's a curse, and he's like, oh, that's how y'all must see trauma here. And then with today's episode, where they were talking about burning the Hydra heads, and he was pulling from a story from Hercules, like little stuff like that he's bringing from his past life is interesting, and I've been enjoying it. But as for like this week, we ended last week's episode, and there's a circle that's a different color than all of them. That's already not a great sign. All right, but they enter it. They see the Hydra. They catch a glimpse of Zenith, and Paul was 10 toes down, ready to give smoke, and he went in. I didn't expect him to start cutting off Hydra heads like that. I thought that maybe he was going to get blown back or something. So that was a interesting spot for me. And then when they kind of nerfed Roxy and Rudius's character because the magic wasn't affecting it, that was a real interesting play that I did not see coming. And so here, Rudius did this big long travel to get there just to get to the final boss. And at least initially, he was worthless. Like he couldn't do nothing. Now that ended up changing as the show went on because of the story with Hercules and burning the Hydra head so they didn't grow back and everything. So he ended up being able to offer some level of assistance, but everything being legit, like all the way through, really, it was Paul that was in there scrapping with that thing. So again, like you said, like there's not really another MVP like we can pick for it other than Paul this week. He went out fighting.
Santo.
Happy Father's Day. Um, well, yeah, I pretty much have echo the same thoughts. I've played enough video games that when you see you're going into a portal or a door and it's glowing either purple or red, it's a bad time. Um, to the point that remember even Rudius was like, "Hey, let me have some healing items just in case."
Yep.
Like he knew.
He saw the autosave in the corner and he said, "Uh-oh."
But what really caught my attention was Paul looking that impressive even after he's been saying that he's weak. And this is like a nerfed version of Paul, so I would have liked to see him like when he was younger. Least good lord. Like it was pretty interesting to see a lot of our characters that we consider like very strong look like absolute dog water in this fight. Like pretty much Paul soloed that first time they went in. Like he really like just carried. I did like the aspect of retreating and getting their bearings together. Because that really like hit me and from a video games perspective. But man, Paul died because of Rudius's fault. Like you let your guard down there, and it just shows his inexperience in battle. Like him just taking less what those 3-5 seconds to breathe, and Paul has to like give up his life for his kid, like and his wife, who I don't know. I'm distraught, bro. I'm distraught. To me, I think it was the best animated episode of the series. Personally, I did like how to me, they finally did a battle animation like to me flawlessly. Yes, they had some CGI for the Hydra, but that's okay. Like it was well done.
Santo, we've seen more experienced studios do worse with. We've seen more experienced studios do worse. I thought it was just the right amount of CGI that it didn't bother me too much. You know what I mean?
It
was perfect. It was
great.
very well done.
I like the contrast, the heavy contrast in that blue and that black for the Hydra. I did like, figuring out how using Greek mythology with Hercules and the Hydra and all of that, putting it in
Greek
an
mythology.
isekai. Yeah. So I really enjoyed the episode. I mean, they really drove it home when she couldn't talk in the end. Like Rudius is just going through despair. And one thing that really stood out to me, I don't know if I'm going too far ahead, is when he's laying down in bed and he turns over, it just reminds you when he was shut in. So I don't know if they're hinting towards that. I don't know, but that's what I have to say. Happy Father's Day, gentlemen.
You know what? You know what? Before we go any further, I would like to raise a glass to Paul. He was a man. Obviously, the man always understood that he made a lot of mistakes. But these last 4 episodes, and I think eventually at one point Paul will get his own story to understand. Because even when we first meet him in the story, he still more different than he was at during his prime. When he was at his prime, Mazer, Paul was a terrible person, a playboy. Like my boy was. There's a reason why. Um,
Alana Elise hates him so much.
yes,
Yeah.
there's really is a reason why, and it isn't just that. There was part of I forget what his party was, but their party was pretty good. It was Paul, Elena Lies, Ghislaine, Geese, Towhand were part of that party. Zenith comes on later, and that party got very famous, like very famous in the world. But the problem was Paul decided he fell in love with Zenith, and then he decided to disband the party, which really pissed off a lot of people. Plus all of Paul's other escapades at the same time. So I've always said this, and I'll say this like in Goblin Slayer and all like that. I really wish after they saw what they saw that they would run back to town and be adequately prepared. Because like Rudy's like for instance, if we're looking at this like a Dark Souls villain or like a Dark Souls boss, that second run's like your magical run. Like, okay, I faded once, then this is like you're just doing everything right. You don't know how you're doing it, but you're doing everything right. And then the one time you thought you were Gucci, you got caught, and now you have to start the battle over. And now you know in the back of your mind, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to play that well again. So, like Santos said, Rudy's Rudy's overconfidence cost him his father. And you're right, this is part of experience, but it's also part of who Rudy is. One big thing that you'll notice is that Rudy likes to start a lot of different projects. He did when he was younger, and when he was his past life. The problem is he couldn't finish. He never really finished, and they're going to talk about that more, I'm sure. But you've already kind of seen it already. Whenever he just kind of gets in this moment, man, he just gets to tend to become overconfident at the worst time. For instance, um, first season with Dead End when they have to go rescue those adventurers, and he tries to have the superhero entrance of showing up at the last moment, and then that dude ends up getting killed. Right? There's even his overconfidence, which I understand after him and Eris consummate, and then she leaves. It just seems like he's always overconfident at the worst times. God, even his feigned overconfidence with Sarah Santo. Do we need to talk about that?
No.
Right. So I'm freaking hurt, man. I'm so hurt that's how Paul goes out. But you noticed Paul's last gasp of life was he saw Rudy was okay, he smiled, and he died.
Mm.
Mm.
And everybody who's seen anime knows because your boy Paul was throwing all the red flags out. He said, "Yep, I'm definitely dying either in this episode or next episode." But he left it all out on the field, like to use a sports term. He did it right, and the fact that even though Rudy was able to call Roxy to come finish, technically deal the final blow, but I think that the whole sequence of people are getting hurt. Roxy's constantly moving. The only even I know you never really see Geese, but Geese is moving, giving people scrolls or be able to throw those bombs. All these things. The fight itself was magnificently choreographed, showing you what an experienced adventure team can do against a Dark Souls boss or something like that. Like for instance, this is how I picture once the Elden Ring DLC drops, how Lonnie and his friends are going to be playing Elden Ring. You know, they're just going in and out. Somebody's healing somebody. This is what's going on. The fact that they're able to diagnose even on the first one, hey, this it's emitting this scream that blocks whatever. Then they realize that, oh, I got to get close. Elenize blocks the punch. Paul comes in to cut it off. Roxy runs in to heal Elenize. Then they keep going to the next as Rudy's burning the head, and then they're going on to the next one. You know what? Until further notice, Santo, I'm with you. This was the best animated episode of Mushoku Tensei. And of course, on Father's Day, you killed a man's father. You
A man who's about to become a father.
a man who's about to become a father. We don't know what's going on with Zenith. I mean, I know, but I can't tell you guys. But Zenith is in a terrible spot. So when you saw Rudy's face at the end, I was like, you, ooh, I see the callbacks. And now Paul's dead. Sure he got Roxy back. Sure he got Zenith back, but we don't know what's going on with Zenith. So it's just like it was such an unfair episode. But you know what? Shout out to Paul. I'm gonna honor your memory.
That
And
that
in addition, maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but it's only going to get worse from here because okay, so Rudy lost a hand. Cool, not a huge deal. Whatever. Um, he's going to have to go back home and see his sisters, explain that he died, and then have Zenith there and have them excited only to discover that either she doesn't remember them or she's lost the ability to speak or whatever the case is with her. And then now we also have Roxy. And so Sylphie's going to have to deal with that. His home life is about to get rough. Like, he's going from one bad situation and he's about to walk right into another one. And I don't see a situation where he doesn't come out with just some you know what, it's been a while since we gave Rudy some new trauma. He needs some character development. Let's let's give him some more trauma to deal with. He's in for a rough go of it.
I was like, at, at when you know how in the end of the episodes we see the title of the next one. I swear to God, I thought it was gonna say siblings because when he gets home and he tells Norn, "Hey, it didn't work out."
Yeah.
That I was thinking the same thing. Like the fact that Norn and what's her sister's name?
Aisha.
Aisha.
Like I think Aisha's gonna be understanding because she, to me, she just gives me that energy. But
Aisha's the GOAT. Put some respect on her name.
Well,
facts, you
I
already
think
know
Norn
this.
is gonna I think Norn's gonna internalize a little bit too because she's the reason that Rudy went.
I don't think so at all.
Well,
I
I
think
think she's gonna be mad about Paul, but I think that she's gonna see Rudy's hand, and there's gonna be a part of her that internalizes that a little bit, which is only
I
going to add fuel to the fire about her being upset about Paul.
I couldn't disagree with you more. I think Norn is going to let Rudy have it completely, and Aisha's gonna be the one that internalizes a lot. Um, because she's more of the caretaker. You know, she has to be strong for everybody to make sure the house is running effectively. But God, like the honestly, the thing that got me the most out of everything, not even just the look that he gave when Zenith couldn't talk, it was him just laying down and just turning over. It reminded me when the person who shall not be named left him when he was when he was a shut in. Everything. Every time he goes through a bad thing, like, and he lays down and he turns over in that way, depression mode is about to hit. I am not looking forward to that conversation when they get back home to find out, hey, dad died. And oh, by the way, we don't know what's going on with mom. It's almost like Rudius looked at her with that look, is like, we sacrificed Paul, my left arm, everything for this. It's almost like he's
But I
questioning if
brought
it was
another
even
woman
worth it.
back.
I'm just
It's
letting y'all. I'm just letting y'all talk. I'm just letting y'all talk.
Yeah.
This is very interesting to see.
I don't know. It's just to me, it like Mazer said. I agree. Bad times are coming. Like we are
Yeah.
here. We are going straight emo. We are going straight depression, shut in, arguments, everything. I need Cliff to come pick me up right now. I don't know. Come pray for something. I don't know.
I'm very curious in the anime continuity what Elena Lies is going to do in terms of we've seen a lot of moments whether it was Paul or Rudy since they made it to Lapan. Elena Lies has been the person to kind of steer them right. Like for instance, when Geese is putting Paul in the full Nelson and Paul is basically telling him to F off, my wife's right there. Then Elena Lies runs in and slaps him and he immediately regains his composure and they retreat. Now this is different though, right? This isn't like everything's happened. What can Lies really do? How much are we really going to learn of Zenith's condition, if at all? And let's go home. I'm very curious to see how much they show of that journey coming back. Because I'll tell you right now, in the terms of the journey coming back in the light novels, nothing much happened event wise. It was more like dealing with Rudy and everything that's going on with him. Right?
I just need to see them walking home, and that's when I disagree with you, Randall, and just like let it in silence. No, the next episode, that walk home, I don't want to hear music. I don't want to hear talking. Like people are just looking grim.
It was
that's what I think.
It was tough, man. It was a tough episode, especially. God, look, I'll say this with Paul. I have a very love-hate relationship with Paul, right? And like most people in this story, they're all kind of, what's the right word? They're not black and white. The only person who I can really think of that is Zenith. But Zenith was like how Sasha was in the Attack on Titan story, like obnoxiously positive. Now, can she get serious? Can we see her? Yes, absolutely. Episode 4 shows you that when Lilia got pregnant. But Zenith was always like, Zenith's a person like, let's go hang out with Zenith because we're going to have a good time no matter what. That's who Zenith was. And then, well, shout out to Paul, man. Shout out to Paul because he lived how he died, man. He lived fast, and he always, when it came down to it, he did the right thing. Because, for instance, for him to kick Rudy out the way, get cut in half, and then for Rudy to immediately like, oh, this is it, and all that, and just the things where he's like, I'm sorry, I wasn't a better father, blah blah, this like this and that, but I was always waiting. I understand we've gotten a few, but just that one conversation between him and Rudy where they just talk it all out, man. He's like, look, man, I'm a little intimidated by you as a father. Like, you always seem to know everything. Like, you're never what fatherhood was pictured to me, which I think we can all agree that Paul has at least intimated to in the past. He's like, you always just have the right idea. You always do this. You always do that. That's why, for instance, in the last episode, when Rudy's like, damn, did you get stronger? And Paul's like, no, if anything, got weaker. Then you see him walking away. And he has that cheesing ass grin on his face because he's like, hell yeah, I finally did something to impress my son. And Little Eyes gets it. She starts laughing. But look, Paul, I'm not gonna say I love you, but I definitely don't hate you.
Does this redeem his character?
I think in most fans' eyes, I would say yes. People who are gonna read the whole story say yes. But I think for most casual people, they're gonna say no. Because when you look at Paul's ledger, it's red as fuck. It's red as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what the anime felt, which every anime does, they just don't have enough time to show Paul really struggling as a father. Like, we only see the big moments. Like when they meet up again, when he's about to bring Eris home, you don't know how down in the dumps like Paul was. He had no idea where Rudy was, but he's just like, well, Rudy's smart. He'll figure it out, right? And even then, he felt like crap for feeling that way. He's like, but then he doesn't know where his wife is, his 2 sons are, his maid, who's also his mistress. He doesn't know where none of his family are. He just luckily happened to have Norn with him when they teleported. That's the only reason he knows where Norn is, because he had him in his hands. So Paul's gone through it, man, and he's really matured, especially as a father. That's why it's like there's a lot of bitter regrets, because that image that Rudy had of his whole family being there, Lilia, Paul, Zenith, and just that, we're never gonna get that. Now, I will say this: Paul's part in the story is not done. Paul's technically not done the story, but if you're talking about him, like, is he come back to life? No, he's dead. But his part in the story is not done. That's all I can say. But
I don't want to see the man god anytime soon.
You know you're gonna see him. You're gonna see him.
I don't want to see him anytime soon. I don't want Rudy to go to sleep and the man god be like, so what we talk about?
You just had to go, didn't you? Like,
It's an impossible choice because Rudy doesn't go there. Roxy's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Roxy's dead. They're
Yeah.
not any closer to getting to him. Hell, they don't even beat the Fort Stratum where they were stuck at. And they were the ones and they were his Paul's party in Lapan was the party that's the lowest nobody's ever gone until they found that book. And then
Yeah.
guess what? They got to the end where that guy couldn't go any further. Then they were just been setting records with every step they take. So, oh, what an episode.
Yeah.
If
What
if
an
if Rudius wasn't caught slipping, he would have been the MVP. God, he would have been the MVP.
But let me say this: if Paul found out a way, somehow survives, let's just say he survives, maybe he pushes instead of kicking Rudy, he dives or somehow avoids the Hydra, right? They find a way to kill it. Would you feel how would you feel if Paul survived?
Um,
I
I'd
I
probably
mean,
put Elena Leeds as the MVP in that instance.
mm, if he survives, like like he's alive, like he doesn't die after.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rudius is my MVP.
I will say this: if Paul survives, in my opinion, it massively changes the story. So I
Oh
understand
yeah,
why Paul died.
yeah.
Yeah.
I understand why he died.
I
But
mean, I get it from from a storytelling perspective. I get it. It sucks. Just
mm,
it's almost like, okay, like he has to go. Like they've been hinting on it for about maybe 2 to 3 episodes. He's trying to get his things in order. He's trying to get redemption with his son. He's trying to like build up his character. Like, hey, don't think of me of like a jerk. Lise, I'm sorry. Um, yeah.
I knew it was coming, man. I knew it was coming, and it hurt just as much as I thought it would.
Yeah.
What a damn, man.
I'm shook, bro. I'm shook.
Well, if it's gonna end anyway, like the first season ended, because we got 2 episodes left.
Hmm.
We got 2 episodes left.
It can't it,
That's
it
just enough time for him to get home and for everything to go to shit again.
I mean, it better not end on like turning point or something, because then
No,
I'm just
the next
okay.
turning point 4 isn't until even with isn't until the end of next season at the
Okay.
earliest. That's
Okay.
just me. Now, I will say this, and I'm gonna ask this question for the next 3 weeks. Do we want to see Eris, or would you be surprised if we saw anything of Eris at all
She
at
could
the end of the
become
season?
she can be completely out of the story. I don't care. I don't want to see her at
Like
all.
we've seen her in the trailer for Core 2, so we know
Mhm.
we're going to see her at some point. It's a given. We're like they're not going to show her in the trailer and then just not have her pop up at all in the
I'm
season.
sup-
Like
I'm
she's
sup-
going to be there at some point.
mhm.
How they're going to show her, that will be the interesting part.
I will say this. I'm surprised they just didn't wait and take the OVA cheese with her like they did the last time, because that last Eris the Goblin Slayer, which by the way made me laugh because of just like the name and all that stuff. Rudy wasn't there at all. The only episode we've never seen Rudy, and I thought it was very well done. Obviously, a great way to really introduce Cliff,
Mm-hmm.
right? And immediately let Cliff know, yeah, Cliff, you're awesome, but you're not Eris falling in love with you awesome. She never will. You saw how she was glazing him at the end of the episode? So I'm very curious to see how they're not. I'd be shocked if they give her a full episode, which is where exactly I'm going to be, Santo, where my main frustrations with this season is like there's not enough time. They're able to get this battle done very well in one episode. I thought this was going to be 2 episodes, but they got it done very well in one episode. So I think she gets like maybe the last half of the last episode of the season, and then they just make something new for the OVA.
Yeah, I
Like I
mean,
said,
everything's because we're getting to the end of the season. Everything's peaking out right now, and it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
I mean, I get it. I get it. She has to show. I don't want to see her at all. She is completely.
She's for the streets.
She is Voldemort to me right now. I am not speaking her name. Pass, hard pass. I need Ruger to come back and give my boy a hug. Something. I need Cliff to come over to pray. Zanova make a doll or something that just hugs Rudius every 5 minutes because I'm concerned, bro.
And the more I think about it, the worse him going home is going to be. Because he shows up. Okay, cool. Zenith's with him. She's kind of messed up. So when it comes to his sisters, there's going to be a problem. When it comes to Sylphie, Roxy's going to be there. That's going to be a problem.
Fun fact.
On top of that, though,
real quick, Mazer, they've technically also never met. I understand that.
I was just about to say they don't know.
Yeah, no, they've never met.
Roxy leaves like a year before her family moves to the village, so they never meet.
Yeah.
So Sylphie doesn't know any of the adoration that he has for Roxy.
Well, I think that at the very beginning
some.
he mentioned his master.
Yeah.
Like whenever he's teaching Sylphie magic.
But he doesn't know. He doesn't know how deep. He doesn't know how deep his love for his master goes, or reverence. Let's go with reverence. He literally calls her his god. So that's a different level of glaze right there.
But here's the thing. So Sylphie's there, pregnant with this kid. They all get back. He's also going to have to deal with Roxy because up to this point, unless they've had a conversation outside of what the show shows, she doesn't know that he's married with a kid on the way. So she's ready to shoot her shot. She's going to go back. And so he's going to have issues with Roxy. He's going to have issues with Sylphie. And then you have to think about the princess and all that because he just came back with another woman in tow after she just gave her blessing for her bodyguard to go and marry this man. Like, the more I think about it, the more things are just cascading down worse and worse for Rudy. Like,
told you, man. Author's been cooking.
He's oh man, woof. Woof.
I'm saying this. They smash it next episode.
Roxy.
Rudy
and Roxy?
Rudy and Roxy. They smash it next episode. My boy sad.
I hope not. I hope his dick don't work no more again.
Dang.
I've never wished that on somebody. But his life's about to be terrible. The last thing he needs is that on his plate too. Like,
I mean, that might be the perfect pick me up. I mean, man just lost his dad, and you're wishing ED on the guy again. Dang.
Well,
ED was tough.
He's gonna have a lot of problems when he walks.
It almost drove him to suicide, Mazer.
Look, he's gonna have a lot of problems
almost drove him to
suicide. The front door. I know.
Rudy's dead on the street in that city. If it wasn't for Soldat, he's dead. He's dead right there.
He's about to get
dead.
He's about to get back to that sad point here real fast.
I don't know, but I'm booking it.
All right, you guys. We've already talked about the other question I wanted about episode 23. Let's go home. But any last things you guys want to add real quick?
Not about Jobless, but after we're done, I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the other shows that have been coming out.
Mm-hmm. Which reminds me, I need to watch I forgot to watch your last episode, but I'll definitely peep it because I do have a few questions about that topic. But if we don't have anything else, know what? We can talk to like 40 minutes. Let's just go ahead and dive into it, Mazer. We talking slime? Okay. Are we talking slime?
I want slime for sure. And then this week, Kaiju number 8. Bruh. I know you're not watching it yet. You said you were waiting.
I'm gonna binge it. But I've seen a few images.
This week? Like it was the number one episode of the week by far until Jobless dropped. By
Wow, that's high praise. That's high
by
praise.
far, nothing else was even close. Demon Slayer is going good, and it has one more episode left. Next week's episode is going to be the end of Demon Slayer season. This season,
They're only doing
um,
8. They're only doing 8 episodes.
they're only doing 8. Yep.
Wow.
I saw it earlier today. It's confirmed.
Mhm.
So next week's the last week, which is
Wow.
good because the part of the story that they're telling right now, like they're having to stretch it to even make it 8 episodes.
No,
Like
they've done fantastic. This is just like 3 chapters in the manga, basically three
Yeah.
four
yeah,
chapters in the manga.
yeah,
Like
like
Tengen's training was like a few panels. They've done a
yeah.
magnificent job.
Well, the whole thing with like him and
Obanai too. Obanai
trying to
too
do
was a few panels, and they
the
made
paper
that into half an
airplane.
episode. Yeah,
Like they took that paper airplane thing, which would just like maybe like a panel, and turned it into like a 5 minute long like Tanjiro staring up at the sky like oh
by the
like
way, Tanjiro, why didn't you learn why your plane doesn't fly? Because you bent the front.
look, all
That's
right.
why your paper ain't flying this high.
He grew up. He's a man of humble origins. All right, let leave him alone. He's fine.
I'm just saying.
Uh,
5 was it 5 straight times?
10.
Oh, bro, by 7, I'm changing something up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But yeah, no slime though, bro. I'm so happy first and foremost that the 7 clergy all got smoked. I am a Diablo fanboy, so I was real happy to get to see him cook a little bit. Um, I was very surprised when Lumina shows up and everybody's like, "Oh, it's the goddess," and Rudy's looking at her like, "The fuck, goddess?"
A lot of lore got dropped in the last episode because they were fixing everything. From
Yeah,
whether it's obviously her knights discovering that Luminous is actually real, like she's a living god, even though we all know she's just a demon lord. Which, by the way, her route to power as a demon lord is incredibly smart. She did it a very good way. Then there's and even the way, even with how she negotiates with Tempest was very smart. She said, "All
yeah,
right, look, we're only going to do this for 100 years." And she
yep,
was like, we'll trade with you. We'll we'll say that you guys aren't bad, blah blah. I know this is going to change our philosophy of our religion, but she only did it for 100 years. And then I'm like, okay, so maybe there's something going to happen. They dropped the lore on the angels a little bit,
yep.
but that's such a huge plot point that you guys might need to go do some more introspection on your own
Investigating.
investigating. Because let me tell you this right now, they didn't really talk about it on the show. When the angels show up, shit's about to get real, and we know that they show up like if you ever seen Record of the Grand Crest War, the anime, where they're like the it's basically like a fantasy society, but we knew that they were technological at one point, but
Yeah.
they got so strong that basically if I remember correctly, humanity destroys itself. So the mages who know this fact, they keep perpetuating this cycle of war so that humanity never gets to the point where they destroy themselves, right?
Okay.
So basically, it's the same thing with kind of slime. Once you guys start getting smartphones, the angels are coming down, and your civilization's getting destroyed. So before this, so this angels thing has happened a lot of times.
Yeah.
So there's that. Obviously, Yuki, the head of the Free Union, he's still plotting. You get a little bit of lore between Luminous and Veldora about why she doesn't like him, because Veldora's
Yep.
out here just diming her out. Don't ever. Luminous could hold $5. Veldora gonna make sure everybody in the world know about it.
Yep.
That's so there was. I think this was a really big episode for slime, but there's more than that.
She
Sukamichi's
was
been
she
doing
was
great.
better off. She was better off when he forgot her name.
Mm-hmm. He just started diming her out completely. But she also did something to help Veldora, because Veldora is about to basically explode from his magical consumption because he's been holding it in.
Yep.
So
So
she
she
really
just
helped.
sucked a bunch of that in.
Yeah, and she just really saved the nation of Tempest.
Yeah.
So
Man, the whole having a backup unique skill Raphael
She's
needs
busted, man. She's busted as fuck.
yeah, when Rimuru is like, we need to have a talk after this, he really does need to have a talk with her about this, because then she's like, do we want to use this like ultimate shield sort of thing? And he's like, what? When they're getting ready to hit him with the Trinity disintegration like attack, and he's like, uh-oh. And then she's like, oh no, we'll just use this. And he's like, okay.
By the way, she just makes those, right? She just makes some of those skills because
Yeah.
first of all, Sant, I don't know how much of slime you're caught up on, but the ability to just absorb things and get their skills was OP. Then he evolves to like, oh yeah, I can just throw away skills. I can sacrifice skills to make other skills.
Yep.
Then it was I can sacrifice the skill without
Mhm.
having to turn into something else. But oh, guess what? I can make copies of them. That's like if Goku just copied a ton of Kamehamehas and then just uses them when he wants to.
Yep.
Like he already has the key stored up, so he doesn't have to charge it the way he normally does for the super ones. It was when you look at what Raphael does, and this only happens after Rimuru evolves to being a true demon lord, because Raphael also evolves. So he basically has an AI in his head that helps him with everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, and can take skills and combine them on top of that.
He's Rimuru's busted. Rimuru's busted as fuck. And
Shion is busted.
Shion's just short of all the demon lords. Shion's the strongest.
Yeah.
She has an ability that can whatever she wants to do with her knife, she can do. Santo. So if she has a sword that she calls Meteor Edge or something, right? And she uses it for cooking. And she's such a bad cook that her ultimate wish to be with her connection Rimuru was like, I just want to be a better cook for Rimuru. And then the words of the world were like, don't worry, fam, you can be a better cook for everybody. Your food still won't look like shit, but it'll be like that good. Futurama. If you like that Futurama episode, people will still taste it. And because of her ability to want to be such a good cook, she can also bend reality. So she could theoretically murder the Hulk with her sword because she can bend reality to make her sword do that.
Yeah, she gets to basically pick the outcome of like what's happening.
She's busted. She could kill Rimuru if she wants. She could literally kill Rimuru if she wants.
What's the name of that character from Bleach, from the Blood War? The guy that has the power of like imagination.
I know who you're talking about because I just saw
Grimmy, I think is
something
his
like
name.
that. That's what Shion is. The problem is Shion just absolutely in love with Rimuru, so she's never gonna do anything. But I just want you to understand, she beats Benimaru, she beats King Gazel, she might beat a few demon lords depending on who they are. The only ones I think she can't beat for sure is Guy, Diablo if he really wants to, because Diablo's busted, Leon, and Rimuru the minute he learned about Shion's true power. Those are the only 4 guys I think right now, because even she could even fuck up Veldora. She only would take a while, but she could kill him. But
yeah, she's broken. But I was so happy to get to see Diablo like cook a little bit, and I loved that scene. The reporters were all there, and they're like, "What do you want us to do?" And he's like, "Well, I want you to do your job. I want you to tell the people." And they're like, "Bet." He's like, "By the way, Rimuru's the GOAT." And they're like, "Hey, bet."
Write that down. You just started glazing him. You just started glazing Rimuru in front of all the national reporters. My boy said, we are not leaving this situation without Rimuru getting some.
And then he turns around to the king and he's like, "And you a whole bitch." And the king's like, "I'll do whatever. You don't look like you."
To be fair, the king was out here talking trash to Rimuru.
No, he was, yeah. And Diablo was like, "You ready to die, my boy?" And he's like, "What do I got to do?" And he's like, "You don't want to be king anymore, do you?" And he's like, "I sure as hell don't." Yeah, Yom would make a good king. I was just about to say that. Hey, Yom would make a good king. And he's like looking at the reporters like, right, and they got you.
I thought his despair time attack is ridiculous because he also kind of folds time. He also kind of folds time to his reality to his will. Because let's not keep it a stat. Let's not fail here. The 7 days clergy is very strong. Yeah, they're very strong individuals with and they'll just spam disintegration like it's running out of style. So for him to just kind of, yeah, this is your space now, this black space, and I'm gonna keep folding it until you don't exist anymore. And just he legitimately folded them and crushed them out of existence.
Yeah.
And then he just blew it away in the wind. Diablo was cooking. Diablo was cooking. If you guys are watching Tsukimichi, Moonlight Fantasy.
Oh my god.
What?
Bruh.
I'm gonna do a why you should watch on Tsukimichi.
Oh, he's entering his villain arc right now, and I'm loving every bit of it. I'm loving every bit of it.
This one I don't know what's gonna happen, so I'm really enjoying it. When Sophia pulled up, I was like, yeah, he needs to release his anger out on somebody, and he immediately just started beating her ass. I was like, hell yeah.
Oh. Seventh Prince.
I need to watch that. Lonnie swears by it, Santo.
No, I talked to Lonnie about it on while they were BSS was streaming last night a little bit. Bro, don't get me wrong, Rimuru in his universe is a problem. This kid in his universe is a bigger problem. Like, this dude, all he cares about is learning magic. He don't care about women. He don't care about money. He don't care about nothing other than learning magic. And he's kind of got this Goku complex where he meets somebody strong and he's like, hey, square up. Yeah. Yeah. He's like, he meets somebody strong and he says, square up right now. And the person's like, okay. And they fight a little bit. And the guy's like, I don't want to fight anymore. And he's like, we already here. Let's keep going. Like, he finds out that demons can't get killed by magic. And so he traps one in a shield sphere so it can't escape. And he's like, I'm going to take every element of magic and I'm just going to put it on repeat inside of the sphere. Let's say like 1,000 times. I'm just interested to see what it's going to do to you. And so this demon's just getting hit by like lightning, fire, like all this just repeatedly over and over inside of this sphere, and he can't escape.
Man, that'd be torture. Even if it doesn't hurt me, you just be getting attacked constantly.
Well, and here's the thing. He's no slouch. Like, his magic power is insane. So these are also not like light attacks. Like, these are things that would wipe out like just about anybody. But because demons can't die to magic, he's like, okay, I'm curious what happens now. And oh my god.
Like hearing you talk about this anime and watching this picture of this guy's pants. Like,
I know that's one of the reasons I didn't watch it.
No.
That's one of the reasons I didn't watch it.
So have any of you watched the new Aristocrat show?
Which one? Which one is that?
The Reborn as an Aristocrat, so I can use my appraisal.
Yes. So, but that one's different. The main character is completely.
Well, hold on. This is what I'm gonna say. They are both isekais that are peak on two ends of a scale. Where Aristocrat is serious in its story.
I agree.
This is almost like Mashal. Like, everything in the show is almost a joke. Like, even the design of the character, he's very like feminine in his design. Like, everything about this show is like a joke. It's very like Mashal-esque in that way. Where this guy in Aristocrat is not overpowered and he just has a skill and he's surrounding himself with overpowered people. This guy, I don't even want to call him a monster because it's an underwhelming term for what he is. He's so much more than a problem. He's terrifying. Like, you take the isekai genre and they're on both ends, like as far as you can go on either side. This dude takes a demon that everybody's terrified of and turns it into a fluffy pink goat and has it as a pet, basically.
That's interesting.
And the demon is okay with it because the demon does not want any of the smoke that this kid has to give.
See, that's interesting because if you're looking at the Reborn as an Aristocrat one, that one's basically Santo. I don't know if you've seen it, but that one's more kingdom building. So what he has, his ability is appraisal. So he has the ability to find really strong people. Like, those people that never popped up in history or whatever, but they're dumb strong. And
Mhm.
he has the ability to see that using his eye. So in the aristocrat story, the main character's he's just a figurehead because obviously his dad dies early, so he ends up becoming the baron or whatever the title was of his territory, and then he finds really great subordinates. Basically, he's
to
Liu
prop himself
Bei.
up a little bit.
He's Liu Bei finding his brothers, Santo.
Okay,
That's
okay.
basically what I'm saying. And but
Like,
even
he,
then, Liu Bei could scrap a little bit, but this kid
Mhm.
cannot. He's
yeah,
just there because he has to be.
but like this kid, like they tackle racism in the show. They
Mhm.
tackle like sex trafficking in this show. Like they tackle like very serious topics in this show in a really really good way. Like
I
Aristocrat
agree.
is a phenomenal show. Like and the subject matter that they take, because it's an isekai, it seems like it lightens it up a little bit, but they don't lighten it up to the point where it's no longer like something that like has weight. Like they do it in a way where it still has weight.
And let me give you an example of two people. Obviously, when you're talking racism, it's Ritsu.
Yeah.
Basically his first guy that he finds. He's basically like the black person of that universe, dealing with the
Okay.
stuff. But the problem is, I think in the lore, his race did something really bad in the past, and they're paying for it. That's
Okay.
kind of the reason. So like, and one example was that, and I don't know if they showed in the anime, but they showed in the manga. Ritsu becomes a mercenary. He gets bought by just somebody, and he's like, "I'll become a mercenary." The guy's like, "You know what? Bet." Right? And then after a very big job, they're celebrating, right? And they're at the tavern. Ritsu still doesn't really talk to any of the members of the mercenary company, even though he's a full-fledged member, and he sees one of his people trying to mess with a girl. It's very heavily implied that it's going to be a bad
Mhm.
interaction. But he comes in, he stops it, and then he goes to go check on the girl, and the girl slaps his hand and she's like, as if I'll accept any help from your race. So
Wow.
he learns something about life that day. So the next person after all that, whatever happens with his mercenary company, the first person he truly ever opens up to is the main character, because the main character, obviously, he's isekai, so he doesn't really care about that, even though it would be very interesting to see somebody try to pull off a racist main character for an isekai.
Oh
But
god.
that, and then the other one is Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
the insane magic user, insane what she can do. She's and then he gets another guy who's a Zhuge Liang, Santo, who's his age. That kid's smart as hell. He's basically, if Armin was like Armin right after he gets the Colossal Titan, but he's still a child. Because that dude's out here designing war plans, ambushes, things like that against fully grown tacticians and excelling.
Yeah.
So I it's very interesting to see the people that he's surrounded him with himself so far, especially in the manga, because I don't know if they're gonna get to the one person who you're like, ooh, is this? I understand that she's a busted character, but her loyalty is very bad.
No, they've already. She's currently who they're dealing with in the show, like right now, like in this week's
Mhm.
episode.
So that's the first character that I've seen where you're like, you want to question the main character's appraisal ability. Like, did you really just chase the high stats? Like Santo can tell you, when you play Dynasty Wars Empires, or if you play Total War Three Kingdoms, when you recruit Lubu, what's the one thing you always got to worry about, Santo?
When you recruit Lubu?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? Like when you're
This is what
going
I mean. So
against
Lubu,
Lubu?
yeah, no, so Mazer, to give you an example, I'll use
E-
Total War because I'm playing that currently.
Everybody
Lubu is
wants
the
smoke with
strongest.
Lubu.
Lubu is the strongest character in the game. No bar, no questions. And when he was in the
Mhm.
story, he was a problem. So, but the thing always was in the story was, if you recruit Lubu, are you going to be able to keep him loyal? And
Oh, okay.
legitimately, every master that gets Lubu betrays every single one of them. So you always got to watch out for that. And the game, I know in Empires, Santo, that sounds weird to worry about loyalty, but it is a factor. And
Mhm.
Lubu ready to leave you or take one of your territories to fight you is just one of those things. That's why that lady that they hire, she be making moves even in the manga. I'm like, I don't know, man. I know she helped us win this war, but I don't fucking know. Like she's weird like that. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of really cool ones. The Fable, by the way, that's going to be my recommendation to you guys. Is a contract killer in
On
Japan.
vacation, kind of.
He's basically sent on vacation, and I think he's autistic. I think the main character, he's never implied in the show, but when you watch him, he's very autistic, or he has some kind of mental disorder that helps him become a ridiculous assassin. But I understand that he's on vacation, but things still happen, and he goes to Osaka. It's very good. The sequel series for Fable just ended, which I need to finish, but that's going to be one. I recommended it before in the past on the BSS show. I'm going to do it again, Santo, because I want more people to watch that. I've been very cautiously optimistic with it with the anime, but they've done pretty well so far. I'm off a
Okay.
couple episodes, but everything that I've seen, I was like, thank God, because I was worried they're going to turn this into something it's not. The main character is a stone cold killer.
Nice. I need to watch
Stone
that, and I
cold.
need to watch Yatagarasu. Those are the two that are like I've been wanting to watch Star Fable, but there's not really a lot coming out this summer that I'm interested in. So I think that this summer
What is
I'll
what
have a
is the
lot
biggest
more.
release of the summer?
Right now it's probably Fairy Tale.
I'm not excited for that. Santo, why is
Uh,
the summer so bad this year?
I mean,
Oceanoko's got a new season coming, so there's that.
I
Well,
mean, if you're really asking, like, why is summer so bad? I mean, spring, it was like you just drop your load on spring.
to be fair, this spring season was
Was insane.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
So,
But there's
but
not
then
really much coming out
fall.
this summer. So like summer, like that's the time I'm gonna watch Fable. It's when I'm gonna watch the new season of My Hero Academia. When I'm gonna watch the new season of Irregular Magic High School.
I'm enjoying the new season. I'm
I'm
enjoying it.
waiting to binge it.
I'm enjoying it,
But
and this is one of those.
Yatagarasu, Fable,
Mhm.
all that, like that's gonna be like how I'm spending the
Mhm.
summer, just because there's not as many animes that I actually like want to watch that are like gonna be week to week.
So
Yeah.
I was gonna say this. Oh, go ahead, Santo.
No, I'm looking at the summer lineup. I
The
mean,
best thing
yeah,
coming out in anime in the summer is the Blue Lock movie.
you got the
Mm.
Blue Lock movie. You got, I mean, I'm not gonna
When is
lie,
the
like,
Overlord movie
I,
drop?
I am definitely
I
going
think.
to. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
is the Overlord movie dropping in the summer? It might be the Overlord movie, Mazer.
Oh, I'm rewatching Overlord right now to get ready for it.
No,
I know they're not going to
I'm
want to
not
hear it on the
seeing.
BSS, Santo, but the Overlord movie might be better than the Nagi movie, than Blue Lock's episode 9. Once we get you 20, Mazer,
I'm
you
not
better be
seeing the
locked
over.
in on Blue Lock. That's all I'm going to say.
I am not
Oh,
seeing the Overload
I'm
movie.
already a Blue Lock guy. Like
Yes,
I'm here
sir.
for it. Yeah.
All right.
I don't think the Overlord movie is this summer.
Oh, so it's coming out in the fall, and ReZero is in the fall,
Mm-hmm.
Mazer.
Yep.
So,
ReZero dropping again.
and then all this is just leading up to Sakamoto. By the way, having Sakamoto Days go head to head with Solo Leveling is very interesting. I thought they might let Sakamoto Days just dominate a season. I thought but hey, if you feel that confidence coming out and you feel that people are gonna love it, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll just watch them either way, but I wonder. There's something else coming out in next winter that's really big that I'm forgetting. Oh,
Uh,
Danmachi.
yep.
Danmachi. Danmachi. So,
We got the Eminence of Shadow movie that's gonna be dropping.
ooh, don't let that be good. I'm gonna be preaching the gospel. Santo, you've seen Eminence in Shadow, right?
Yes.
My boy, there's like Sid may be the only person who can stop Rimuru at this point. Because
Yeah.
we don't know how strong he is. We don't know. My boy was trolling on the wall on the rings of Jupiter. That's what he was doing. He's
I
Magic
mean,
Saitama. He's Magic Saitama.
That's a good way of putting it.
He's
He's Magic
Magic
Saitama.
Saitama.
Yeah.
As mu-
There's
yes.
actually a lot coming out, but it seems like a lot of the big stuff that's coming out are going to be movies.
Yeah.
Like Blue Lock, Overlord,
Eminence
Eminence.
in Shadow.
Yeah. Well, and then Demon Slayer. After next week's episode, all that's
Mhm.
left is movies.
But when are they releasing those movies?
They haven't said yet.
There's
If they released one at the end of this year, I'd be wow.
yeah.
But
In the summer, the MHA movie is coming out.
I'm not excited for that.
I mean, none of them have really missed yet, though.
To be fair, this has been a fantastic year for anime movies.
It's
Yeah.
the My
Spy
Hero
Family was
Academia movie
It-
4 called You're Next. Like, yeah.
So are these? They say parts of them are canon, but which parts? Like, is the part the one where he gives Bakugo one for all for a fight? Is that canon? And by the way, W Horikoshi for resisting the urge at one point to get all of Class 1A together, and they all have one for all. Because I'd be hot watching Mineta run around with that power because he doesn't deserve it.
Mineta is important.
How?
I'm gonna make that a shirt for BSS.
How is Mineta important?
Mineta is important.
How is he important?
He is needed as the comic relief.
Kaminari can be comic relief.
Not like Mineta.
That's all he has. Kaminari is also does stuff for the story.
Okay, yes, but you need a joke character.
Kaminari's a joke character.
He is not a.
You're telling me after he uses his quirk and he burns himself out, he just sitting there like, hey.
So
he doesn't become a joke character.
So right now in the anime, right now, they're fighting Shiggy up there in that platform that they built.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the one holding it up?
Is it not what's his name? The magician guy. Did he show up yet?
No, who's powering the whole thing? Your joke character. Your joke character.
Yeah.
He is not a joke character.
But he can be. He can be both.
Look at Zenitsu. Zenitsu both.
Yeah, Zenitsu's both.
You need specifically a joke character. And that's Mineta.
How is Demon Slayer able to give you one guy that's both a complete joke and also incredibly badass, and you're saying you need one? Zenitsu was that.
Why are you so hurt?
Because he sucks.
Sure.
He sucks. His quirk sucks. He shouldn't be Class 1A. Like, he has no business being on the screen.
He's a
no business
character.
He's something to keep in mind. My Hero Academia is going to be getting real Game of Thrones here moving forward. A lot of people dying.
We caught up all the way to the end, and the ending of the manga. Yeah, Demon Slayer is about to get real Game of Thrones.
Demon Slayer, everybody dying.
Everybody dying.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying we're getting to that point, like in both of these animes, where like it's about to start getting real rough for the fans. Like Jujutsu Kaisen, Shibuya arc started it, and now just because of the way the cards are landing, everybody else is
Santo Mazer's cooking
on the same level.
Mazer's cooking. The Shibuya arc just unleashed this never-ending torrent of darkness that's going to be carried throughout the year. Because once ReZero shows up, darkness is everywhere. He's just adding extra stuff to it.
Yeah, we're entering
we'll draw some stuff
sad
on it.
mode.
You know, episode 9 gonna take a little bit out, to take a little bit of darkness out, because let's be honest, they're just playing soccer, right? But like, oh my god,
yeah,
and it, oh my god,
it's just the way stuff landed. Like I think that is coincidence. I don't think they could have planned for things to end up the way that they did, because of how long ago like Demon Slayer came about, like how long ago My Hero came out, like. There's no way they could have planned it to where all of them would be in this super dark part of the story at like the same time.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring this up on the BSS because that is crazy when you think about it. Because even Solo, the way Solo Leveling started, you know, a little darkness. Yeah. And then Mushoku Tensei was like, "Yeah, we're gonna try our best to work this out until we get to like spring, and then we're gonna throw a ton of black paint on this." So it's been a lot of fun, but I don't want this to run too long. I want to do a mid-year anime review, Santo. How would you feel about that? Kind of like in our style of our anime year in review videos.
Yeah, I'm down. And by the way, if you guys were talking about recommendations, I've been shouting it from the heavens.
Oblivion
Battery.
I was gonna wait. I was gonna wait till the season was over,
bro,
to shower you with complete compliments because I watched the first episode just to peep, and I said, let me lock in, and it's fantastic.
It's
Oblivion Battery, it's fantastic.
Oblivion Battery has managed to be the greatest comedy while also being a fantastic sports story, while also having such a dark undertone that you have no idea what's going on. How did this guy lose his memory? And every time they talk about it, it's straight depression on everybody's face.
It's amazing, Mazer. It's amazing what they've done. And, bro, don't let the dude turning Super Saiyan fool you from how dark this story is. Santo, I'm now these two caught all the way up, and I haven't laughed like that in a long time. But also at the same time, I've been so intrigued by a story like that in a long time, especially given they're playing baseball. But why the fuck is there this incredibly secret, dark undertone behind everything?
It's like you should like I'm laughing, but like should I be laughing? And to the
Absolutely.
point, like, and I've been saying this. I'm not caught up on slime. I'm not that big into isekais like everybody is,
Mhm.
which is that's just me.
I think there's an
But
isekai out there for everyone.
Mhm.
and I do understand that slime is probably going to get anime of the spring, sure.
Mm,
But Oblivion Battery needs to be in that conversation, hands
I agree. I
down.
agree.
I'm the biggest slime stan that I know. I don't know that I would give slime anime of the season.
Those 4 straight episodes of meetings were in. We would not let. If Mushoku Tensei did 4 straight episodes of meetings, I'd have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
I don't know why people let that go with slime.
Right now, I'm giving Kaiju number 8 anime of the season. The way things stand currently.
Okay.
Okay.
We should also do
I
seasonal
rest.
ones, Mazer. Let's just do seasonal ones, then we'll wrap it out with our year in review.
Yeah, I'm good with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, let's do that.
But man, I'm so excited for you to watch Kaiju number 8 because I know you said you were waiting on it.
I
I
blame the
I
manga. The
I
manga doesn't
feel
excite
like
me at all.
the hype that you are just waiting for us to give you whenever something's happening in Jobless and you're like, "Oh, here they come. Here they come." I feel like that's going to be me when you finally watch Kaiju.
Okay.
Like this week, like I said, like it
Now, I've
wasn't even
heard a lot of people have been glazing this week's episode.
like
So
nothing else was close until the Jobless episode dropped. Like nothing else was even close.
yeah, even though you're right.
Tsukamichi was a good episode,
Sugamichi was a very good episode.
not close to Kaiju.
Wow. Well, let's end it here because I want to ask you guys a couple questions behind the scenes.
Yep.
And well, that was it. That was our episode 22 review of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. My parents, pray for Rudy.
He
Pray
needs
for
it.
Zenith. And also pour one out for Paul. Hey man, his when because people have been asking, he's also done a chapter before of Paul's backstory. But when he gets that story fully flushed out, give him that Itachi, that Sanemi backstory treatment.
Mhm.
Give him that. People are gonna fucking they're gonna hate how much they love him. They're gonna hate how much they love him. But we will see you guys soon. Go watch Oblivion Battery. Santo was cooking with that. Go watch it.
Bet. I'll do that as soon as we're done here.
Yup. What? In baseball too. That's what makes me